Evening, everyone. I don't know where that performance came from. 1-1. Should have won the match, but at the end of the day, really happy with a lot of what I've seen tonight, and I'm sure people watching will be too. I just thought I'd quickly jump on to have a bit of a chat about it because I was buzzing. Really, I think loads and loads and loads of positives to take. I am gutted that we didn't win. I think we deserve to win. I think that we played better than Man United did. And I know that, like, in terms of stats and stuff, they had more possession. But as we've talked about lots of times on this channel, possession isn't everything. And what we did with our possession that we did have was far better than what Man United did with theirs. And I mean, I'm really chuffed, like really happy, but I'm gutted we haven't won that football match. And I really didn't expect. I didn't expect anything out of today's match, if I'm honest. But it was just a great performance from the start. And there's loads of stuff to talk about, but it was a fantastic performance. So Jan says, yeah, 10 out of 10, good shift, absolutely fantastic team performance. I totally agree. To a man, we were fantastic. I actually think I know the goal that they scored was a bit weak defensively, but I think we defended pretty well for most of the match. I think I was worried about that because quite often when we've taken the lead in games, we've then gone on to lose them quite comfortably because of the defensive issues that we have. But I really do believe that I thought we defended pretty well and limited Man United to long range efforts and not really that many clear cut chances. And Ronaldo didn't have a sniff all night, really. And it was only Cavani who came on and really looked like scoring for them. And he obviously did in the end. So, evening trolls. Yes. As you all know, Joelinton, on this channel, it's a bit of a running theme, but he was awarded man of the match on Sky tonight. And for me, again, was man of the match. I think that the Don Goodman, I think it was, the co-commentator, absolutely got that right. He was just amazing. Like, he's just playing some great football. We have got a player there finally, and I couldn't be happier with that either. So very, very happy. Trolls says he was angry when we let the goal in, but after the match, buzzing, great teamwork, and that's kind of how I feel. I was so gutted that we conceded that goal because they genuinely didn't deserve to score that goal, Man United, and I was so deflated because I really thought that we'd then go on to lose possibly, and like almost like the balloon popping sort of thing. But actually, in fairness to the players, they kept going, and we again had the better chances to possibly win the match. And it's so frustrating. Evening, Paul. It was a great game. We were very, very good, and again, Joelinton getting the plaudits from Paul as well. It was immense. We've got a player there. We've absolutely got a player there, and this is what I was saying weeks ago before Eddie Howe came in. His physicality and his ball control is fantastic. And under Eddie Howe, he is just thriving, and it's so, so good to see. Just Joe Evening, gutted we didn't win, but we played amazingly. Zidane has a poster of Joelinton on his bedroom wall. Yeah, again, more praise for Joelinton. Again, just he was outstanding, wasn't he? He really, he this is what we've needed in the center of the park. We need someone who can, get control of the ball and influence stuff, and he did, absolutely did. Jan says we were the best team on the night, no doubt about it. Joel, Evening, De Gea kept them in it. That save at the end was fantastic, to be fair to him. What a save that was. I can't remember who had the shot now. Was it? Oh God, was it Murphy who had the shot? I can't remember. Or was it Almiron? Almiron had the shot, didn't he? Murphy hit the post, and then I think Almiron curled in. Almiron just didn't quite get it wide enough, but it was still a very, very good save. And De Gea, it was a great save. You can't deny that. But yeah, UK Jack Evening, cracking match. Gutted we were robbed of 2 points. That's how I feel. I feel like we've dropped 2 points, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying 2 hours ago when we were starting the match against Man United. I really just thought that it was going to be a case of, what can we keep the score down to almost? I know Man United haven't been pulling up any trees really, but they're still in the top 5 or whatever they are. And, we've been leaking goals left, right and centre all season. So, it's just one of those things. Evening, Blakey. So proud of the performance. We deserved the win. Joelinton was incredible. Very, very similar themes from everyone who watched the match. I agree completely. Joelinton for me, since Eddie Howe's come in, he's been our best performer. Absolutely. What I thought as well, though, Alan Saint-Maximin tonight, he's come in for some criticism since Eddie Howe's come in, but I thought he was well up for it tonight. And, he took his goal was fantastic, wasn't it? But he played well throughout. Him and Joelinton actually linking up on the left quite a bit was nice. It was good to see and really, really positive stuff. So if we can get Saint-Maximin playing like that every week, I mean, hopefully his injury isn't serious. This is my view of it. It was one of those. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm right here and not wrong. That this happens with Saint-Maximin. He runs himself into the ground and then he kind of goes off with an injury, but then he's fine for the next game. So fingers crossed he is against Everton, and we can kind of build on that performance from him, because that's what we need from him week in, week out. Because if we get that from him week in, week out, we know how dangerous he can be. Mr. Austin, well done, Newcastle. Shame you couldn't get the 3 points. You definitely deserved it from an Arsenal fan. Thank you, Mr. Austin. Appreciate it. Yeah. I was messaging my friend who I work with, who's a Leeds fan, and he was saying the same, really, that we deserved it. We deserved to win, but points not a bad result. We probably would have taken a point before the match, but obviously once you watch a match, you always think, oh well, actually we could have had those extra 2 points, and it's not ridiculous to say that. Michael Johnson, get in there. So happy, glad that you're happy, Michael. It was a good point. Like I say, it's a bonus point. Maybe not a lot of people were expecting us to win tonight. And Ethan says Tottenham, Arsenal, West Ham will be happy that we took points from Man United. And that is so true as well, because, of course, that race for the top 4 is a tight one, isn't it? And West Ham have obviously had a bit of a dip in form, so they'll be very delighted. And Arsenal pushing for that top. Are Arsenal actually in 4th at the moment? I can't remember. I didn't look at the top half of the league, actually. I only looked at our section of the league at the bottom. I'll come on to that in a little bit as well. Mike says the fitness levels and performance are starting to come through. Just waiting for the winning results to catch up. Yeah, I'm still not worried, Mike, to be perfectly honest with you. I've always said if we can be in touch come January with the relegation. Let me just get rid of that a sec. With the relegation, out of the bottom 3, then I think we'll be all right. I would say we're just about in touch. I know that there's a lot of teams with games in hand now. It's all skew-if, isn't it? With that, we've played half our matches, but ultimately Burnley and Watford are going to lose more games than they'll win out of their games in hand, I would have thought. So yes, we're probably a few points worse off than I'd like us to be, but we're not in a disastrous situation, in my opinion. And if you look at the bottom half, really, I know that 9 points when you're in the bottom half is a big gap. But you look up to Crystal Palace. I'm not saying Crystal Palace are going to get relegated, because I don't think they will. But I think Brentford might free fall. I've said that for a while. Southampton as well. There's a few teams there who I think are susceptible to a dip in form. And if we can kind of get some players in and strengthen in a way that these other teams might not, I really do feel like the results are going to come. And, from now, really, I mean, let's be honest, we looked at Everton away as a really, really tough match, but, Everton are 15th. It's all to play for when we play them in a few days' time. And I think that if we can get another result at Goodison Park, that would be absolutely massive before the new year. And then, of course, we can hopefully build on that when it comes to the January transfer window, and then the run of fixtures that we have in January and February is one that is favourable. And actually, January and February is the month. They are the months that are going to define our season. When we get to the end of February, we will know whether we've got a realistic chance of surviving or whether we will be going down to the Championship, because we've got quite a few games where you look at them and you think, yeah, we can take points from that. So let me just get the fixture list up. I've not got a screenshot of it, but I'll just read them out to you. So we've got, obviously, Everton away on the 30th, live on Amazon Prime on 7:30 kickoff. And then we've got Southampton away on the 2nd. We've got the cup game. But then in the league, we've got Watford at home on the 15th, Leeds away on the 22nd of January, Everton, the return game against Everton at home on the 8th of February, Villa at home on the 13th of February, and West Ham away and Brentford away to finish February off. And then we've also got Brighton at the start of March. So if you think about those games, they're kind of, for me, there's a lot of games there where I think there's possibilities. I think there's possibilities there in terms of like getting results and stuff. So we'll see whether it happens. Nothing's taken for granted. We are still conceding far too many goals. So, at the end of the day, who knows how many points we'll get? But that is the defining for me. They're January, February, and the start of March against Brighton. They're the defining matches. They're the defining matches basically for our season. So can we stay up? I don't know. I'm not sure. Hopefully we can, but we will see. Right, let's get back to some of your comments. So Mike was saying the fitness levels definitely rising. We were a little bit tired at the end. I think Longstaff in particular, but he's not played a lot of football. Was looking a bit tired, and it's fair enough. But yes, the fitness levels absolutely improving, and we are hanging in there until the end of matches, which is much better. Eric says, makes you wonder what might have been if Steve Bruce didn't stick Joelinton as a number 9 from day one. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's a bit of a weird one because whoever scouted him and whoever bought him and gave him the number 9 shirt, it's a mistake, wasn't it? He was not number 9 and it hasn't helped the lad. But ultimately, there is a player in Joelinton and we're starting to see it. And just, thank God, like we need all the players we can get and we're getting some really good performances from him. So Jan says, better times on the way shortly, no worries. And that's how I feel. And if by the end of February we haven't picked up, if we're still in the bottom 3 at the end of February, then yeah, I'll be worried. I'll be thinking, yeah, okay, we're going to struggle. We're going to go down. But at the moment, I don't feel like we're going to do that. And I think I think there's been signs of this kind of performance from Eddie Howe's team since he's come in. We've played well in patches against like Brentford and Norwich. And, there's been other games where we've played quite well. Liverpool away, we played fairly well. I mean, very tough opponent, obviously, and we lost. But if we can repeat that performance against the likes of Watford and Everton and Villa at home and Leeds away and Southampton away, then we have got a chance. I really believe that. But we have to start winning games now. The excuses are over. From Everton onwards, we have to start winning games. Just sure, I didn't watch the game, but I saw like a written commentary. And they said we handballed it in the 92nd minute. So if we would have lost it in the 92nd minute, I would have cried. Did we handball it in this? What? I can't remember. If we did, then it wasn't in the penalty area or anything like that. I don't think. Hamady is happy. I think that's a happy sign. I imagine. Let's play like this against Everton. We might have a chance of another point. Ethan, I'll be honest with you. If we play like that against Everton, I would be hopeful of 3 points. And let's be honest, we know how Rafa plays and he sets Everton up like he set us up. And that was quite defensive. And I think Eddie Howe will play on the front foot. If we can attack Everton and get at them, then I think we've got a chance of winning that football match. Everton have struggled this season, and I'd be going there hoping to get at least a point, but wouldn't be surprised if we could nick the 3 points. And that is not just because I'm drinking beer and have watched a really good performance, but I genuinely believe that we could do that. There we go, Hamady. Good game, good spirit, excellent. Jan says 2 points against Brighton and 2 points tonight dropped. Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, it is a shame. We have left points on the pitch, haven't we? Mike says great if we can build on this for the Everton game as well. Absolutely. Morgul, evening. He says bonus point for me. Great performance. If we were gonna pick up injuries to Alan Saint-Maximin and Wilson, then not the worst time to do it in terms of the window. I said that to my brother actually. If Wilson's injury is bad, I thought Wilson had done his cruciate ligament actually. The way he went down, it kind of got stuck in the grass and he kind of fell funny. But thankfully, it looked like he was rubbing his calf. So whether it's a best case scenario, it'll be a calf pull, but worst case scenario, it'll probably be a tear of the calf, which could keep him out for a while. But you're right, Morgul. January transfer window is very, very close to opening. I'm sure we'll be signing another striker anyway. So hopefully, even if Wilson's injured, we'll have someone new in the club pretty soon who can sort of step in and be a proper striker. Having said that, I thought Eddie Howe got it spot on tonight. When Wilson went off, we were 1-0 up and he brought on Murphy. And what he didn't do, thankfully, was move Joelinton up front. And what he did was he just sort of played Saint-Maximin in the centre and along the front and kept us more solid with Murphy coming on. And I thought I was spot on because Joelinton was playing so well, you didn't want to put him in a different position. And I was really pleased to see that Eddie Howe did that. And that tactically, for me, that was spot on. Andrew, great performance. Still too much to do to save the season, but definitely improving. As I say, Andrew, you've probably just listened to the last few minutes, but I disagree with that. I don't think it's too late to save this season. I know it's an uphill task, but we're not adrift in the sense that we're not miles away from safety, and we've got a nice run of games coming. But we have to win those games, or a lot of those games. I would say, you're looking at those games in. I mean, how many games we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 9 games between Everton and Brighton in the league. And really, I think we need to be winning like 4 or 5 of those games, to be honest with you, if we want a realistic chance of staying up. So that is a big ask for a team that's only won 1 game all season. But it's not impossible. And as Eddie Howe said the other week, why not be the first team to do it? Why not be the first team to be in such a bad position and survive? Look, Newcastle United were once the only club to lose their first 3 Champions League group matches and then qualify. Records are there to be broken. Newcastle have done those sort of things in the past before. I'm still confident that we can do it at the moment. Come back to me at the end of February, and then we'll see where we're at. Joel says he wasn't expecting anything, so a point is decent. Agree. Just a shame, considering the shift they put in, that we didn't get the 3 points, and that's exactly how I feel. I just think we deserve to win. We really deserve to win, and if we could have just got that second goal, Sam Maximin's chance in the start of the second half, he just didn't catch it well enough. He just passed it. He passed it back to De Gea. If he'd just hit it across the goal, it would have gone in. He didn't even need to hit it hard or anything like that. But anyway, Blakey said a real possibility the Everton game will be postponed. We were stretched in terms of numbers anyway before tonight's injuries. Yeah, there was a lot of changes to the team today, which is worth mentioning as well, bearing in mind the performance. I think there was like 5 or 6 changes. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's amazing we haven't had any games postponed yet. Yet every other club seems to have done. So it might not be the worst thing to kind of postpone that Everton game. Although, I'd fancy our chances against Everton. But if Wilson and Sam Maximin are out, then maybe it would be in our interests for that game to be postponed. Just Joe, one of Burnley and Watford's game in hand is against each other, and that has to be a draw for us. Can't have Watford or Burnley getting 3 points. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Ideally, that would be a draw. We'll see. Mogul says gap is still manageable, and it doesn't matter when you get the points as long as you get the points. Exactly. And I was chatting again to my dad the other day over Christmas, and he was saying he'd seen, there'd been loads of examples of teams who would. It'd been like March or April, and there'd been like 8 games left in the season, and it'd been like, right, there's 8 points adrift, 9 points adrift with like 8 games left, and they've survived. It does happen. It does happen. Evening, Mark. Good evening, everyone. Brilliant performance tonight, especially Joelinton. Mark, you've come in obviously a little bit later than other people, but so many people have mentioned Joelinton tonight. It's great to see. You will know as well as anybody how happy that makes me feel about Joelinton, and kind of been proven right about him actually, and sticking my neck on the line about Joelinton really, and he's sort of at the moment he's making me look smarter than I am, I think. Jan says, by the time we play Leeds, we'll be up and running with the new players. Yeah, exactly. We've got, it's going to be really interesting to see when and how quickly we get the new players in, and how much of an impact they can have straight away. So we'll see. We'll see. Eric, evening. Norwich going to lose almost every game left this season. Burnley will sit back for 8 minutes to try and nick a late goal like they always do. Yeah, you know what you're going to get with Burnley, and I really. Yeah, I mean, Burnley are funny because like they're still pretty tough to beat, and they've kind of, although they're not winning loads of games, they're quite tricky to beat. I'm going to just quickly put the league table up because I want to just see what they've done. Oh gosh, let me get rid of that comment. So Burnley they've only won 1, but they've drawn 8, a bit like us, haven't they? So they've drawn 8 games, won 1. But they've also now played 4 less games than us, and we've lost 4 more games than them. So, it is what it is. But ultimately, they're not going to win a lot of games, and they'll draw a lot. But from a Newcastle point of view, what I would say is I'd be more confident in the second half of the season that we're going to win more games than Burnley, because we've got more going for us in terms of a new manager who we've got a bit of an identity in the way we play now. Once we've got reinforcements and players that suit Eddie Howe's style more, that should help us, and we should start picking up points. And we play games to win. Burnley, like sorry, Burnley, was it Eric? Yeah, like Eric was saying, they're going to just play the same way all season. They'll try and nick games 1-0, 2-1, that sort of thing, or hold on for a point, and they'll see accumulating draws as kind of decent results, really. But we will, I'm confident we can finish above Norwich, obviously, and Burnley, if I'm honest, and then hopefully we can catch Watford. Leeds are going to struggle. Leeds apparently are not going to spend much in the January transfer window, so whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what my friend who spots Leeds seems to think, that they've said they're not really going to spend much money. So we'll see, and that's obviously good news for us if they can. And there are other teams that we can catch. I'm positive of that. Davey says, real top effort tonight. Obviously worrying with Saint-Maximin and Wilson going off. Seeing Wilson go off like that before, it's not always good. Yeah, and let's be honest, one of the things about Wilson is that he is injury prone in his career. He has been injury prone for quite a lot of it, and we've been lucky that we've got through this far this season with him, not being badly injured. But it is kind of what you get with him, unfortunately. It's just one of those things, really. So we'll see. Hopefully the injuries won't be too bad. Like I said, I thought Wilson might have done his cruciate ligament. The way he went down, and he was like in agony, and I was just thinking, gosh, this looks horrendous. But thankfully, he sort of seemed to, he just sort of seemed to be okay in the end. So we'll keep an eye on that. And Saint-Maximin, obviously, a big concern too. So yeah, it's worrying. But I think, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit too casual about Saint-Maximin, but I've seen this from him lots of times. Like I say, he sort of gets it. He gets tired in games, then he sort of hobbles off at the end. You think, oh God, this looks horrendous, and then he's back for the next game. So fingers crossed, it's just like that. Morgul, games in hands aren't points, and those clubs are going to be playing 3 games a week. Yeah, very, very good point. Games in hands are not points, and especially down the bottom of the league, when you don't win much, winning those games in hands, they can quite quickly come and go, and you don't pick up many points. So yeah, really good point. Eric, we need a striker in January as well as obvious defensive upgrades. Wilson always one stretch of his leg away from the treatment room. Exactly. Can I just say that what I would say about defenders is, yes, we do need new defenders, but I've been saying this for a while as well. Defensively, our midfield don't do enough. I mean, tonight they did pretty well, to be fair. We looked more solid, and that helped. But for me, the defence starts sort of with the midfield in a sense, and the way it's been happening this season is we've just been so exposed between midfield and defence, and it hasn't helped the defenders. Whereas if we can become more compact and solid in midfield, I'm talking wingers as well as central midfielders, then that's going to be very important to improve our defensive record. And I think it shouldn't be overlooked how important the midfield is in terms of defending as well. It's not just down to the defenders, but some of the defenders do need an upgrade as well. Dzeko is free. Get him. Possibly. How old's Dzeko these days? Is he? I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it comes back to the old argument with me, or not old argument, not an argument, but like the old thing saying, does he improve the team? If the answer is yes, you get him in. If he doesn't, you don't. And I think that's how Eddie Howe will operate. Mark says, we don't have the best players, but it feels like everyone is playing for the shirt. Absolutely. Tonight, it definitely did. And I think when we get St. James's Park in harmony with the players on the pitch, there is an effect there that is amazing in a sense. And I think that it is a cliche, but it is sort of like the 12th man thing. And I think that at times Newcastle, St. James's Park can absolutely benefit those players. And it's great to see them. The players obviously playing for Eddie Howe. They're obviously playing for the club. They're obviously playing for pride, as well as they're trying to get out of relegation, and no one wants a relegation on the CV. But it's more than that. Clearly, you can just tell. Like the club's in harmony, which is so nice to see. Davey said, I thought maybe we should have put Gale on for Wilson. Saint-Maximin was shattered up front at the end. Yeah, well, yes, possibly. Maybe that's why Saint-Maximin got injured. I'm not going to worry about Saint-Maximin just yet until I hear more. But I think he might have just been tired and needed to go off. But I thought Howe got it right in terms of bringing, because we were 1-0 up and playing well, and I think I don't think putting Gale on at the point when Wilson went off would have necessarily been the right thing to do. But I can see your argument for it because it's sort of a like-for-like replacement. Just show, is this the biggest January in Newcastle's history? If not, when was there a bigger one? Well, I mean, considering January transfer windows have only been a thing for about 20 years, it probably, and we haven't really done anything in January transfer windows for 14 years, then yeah, it probably is, I would say. It's massive. Like January and February are massive for this football club, not just in terms of matches and results, but like players and squad. It's huge. And you know, we have got a chance of staying up. We really have. But to do that, we need to improve the personnel. And yeah, it's so important that Eddie Howe brings in players that he can trust and can come into the team and perform straight away. And that is not always an easy thing to do when it's January. So fingers crossed that the club have got this nailed, because we really need them to if we want to stay in the Premier League. And I think it's really important that we do. Brian says, Joelinton class. Well done, Bonnie lad. He's mint tonight. So yeah, Morgul saying it was a good move from Howe not to push Joe up front and strengthen the right-hand side. Tactical nous, something that is refreshing to see. After a couple of years of Steve Bruce, it is absolutely welcome. James says, great game. We should have won, but a point against Man United is not that bad. We were the better team and hope that they take that drive to Everton and grab the 3 points. And James, I couldn't agree more with your comment. I think if we'd have been offered a point before the match, we would have taken it. As it was, we feel disappointed, which is amazing because we should have won it. And I do genuinely believe that we deserve to win that game because we had the better chances. And if we could have just got a second goal, we probably would have got 3 points. But yes, I think Everton is there to win. I really believe that. And you know, yes, it's away from home. Yes, it'll be tough. And, you know, let's look at the Leicester game as an example of getting stung. But Everton are not Leicester. Even though I went into that Leicester game feeling more confident than maybe I should have done. But I don't think that will happen against Everton because they're not that type of team. But they have got some good players and we do need to be wary of that. But yeah, I think bring Everton on and let's I don't fear them. I don't, you know, they're 15th. They've not had a good season, and I know they've picked up a few results more recently. They've started to turn that a little bit, haven't they? They got some good. They got a good result against Arsenal and someone else the week after, but we will see. But it's not a game we should be now fearing going into. Joelinton, our best player, has a good and weird ring to it, Trolls. It absolutely does. Even Leeds and Everton are not safe. Again, yeah, totally agree. Morgul it's on my side with the Joelinton thing. Yeah, loving the Joelinton love. I backed you, and there's a player in there. He was never played in a position that suited him under Cabbage. Kebab shop doesn't count. And this is the thing. Like, to be fair, in his first season, I didn't see anything in Joelinton. Like, I didn't even see anything in his gameplay. His first touch was appalling. He lost the ball easily. He clearly lacked confidence. He couldn't shoot. There was a lot not to like about him in that first year, but there were glimpses. Once the number 9 was taken off him, he kind of just, that pressure, I think, went. And yeah, there is a player in there, and he's showing it, and I couldn't be happier about that. Really, really couldn't be happy about that. Cool. I've got looks like my dad is now home from the match, so I'll put him on in a minute. So I'm just gonna let him get set up. Troll says today's performance deserves celebrating. Didn't think we would get anything from this match. Totally agree. Mark says Eddie Howe said after the game, Wilson will need assessing, but Saint-Maximin doesn't look as bad. That is exactly how I felt it would be, Mark. That's what I've been trying to say, because Saint-Maximin does that quite often, where he kind of goes down and looks really badly injured and he hobbles about, but then he's fit for the next game. So fingers crossed for Saint-Maximin it is, because his performance tonight was fantastic. Wilson clearly looks like a bad injury. Let's hope it's not too bad. I suspect it could be a calf tear, which could be a few weeks out, which is not good. But as someone said earlier, we've got the January transfer window to actually get someone in and replace him. So fingers crossed that happens too. So my dad's just got back in from the match, so I'm going to bring him on and see what he thought of it. So good evening.
Hi, Ian. Hi, everyone.
According to everyone else. So,
on my iPhone. I'm not on the big computer tonight, so I'm just...
Yeah. That's all right. So let me just, I might put you on, let's do that. And then we can see a bit better. Right. So what were your thoughts on the match? I've spoke to you very briefly after the match, but what was your assessment of the game?
I thought we should have won. And a bit disappointed we didn't. But what a performance. I mean, they were just superb tonight. I can't fault any of the players. Got a little bit worried with Dubravka towards the end. He looked like as nervous as a kitten when the ball was coming into the penalty area.
There was two things at the end, wasn't there? He
dropped
the ball.
Yeah.
And then he kicked it. He kicked it out to nobody. It was very strange.
But that aside, I mean, they worked their socks off. I mean, they were just the organisation of the team was spot on. Joelinton, and I've been listening to you in the cars. I've been driving back, and it's been a lot of people have said the same. But he was just immense. It was just like he was head and shoulders above any other player on that pitch tonight. I mean, both sides. Yeah. He was absolutely tremendous. But I also a big special word for Fraser. He ran his socks up, but he was harrying them all the time. But actually, when he got in possession, he was also good with it. It wasn't just you coming in. Yeah. Sorry,
there's my mum delivering the tea.
Sorry, I'm a bit hoarse.
You just walked in, haven't you?
Yeah. But no, Fraser was I thought he was superb. It was the best game I've seen, and he got kicked here to high heaven, to be honest, as well.
Well. I'm not being funny, but I mean, let's talk about the Ronaldo thing. Let me know in the comments, everyone. Was it a red card for you, Ronaldo? For me, he was lucky to stay on the pitch. I think the ref bottled it.
Well, in the ground, I mean, obviously we're in the Gallagher, and it wasn't far away from us, and we were absolutely livid. I mean, we're incensed. And the referee obviously saw it as a foul because he gave him a yellow card. But I mean, it was reckless. It was reckless. And I think any other player, I tell you what, if that was one of our players doing it, he would have been sent off. I'm absolutely convinced.
Yeah. But the thing, and I don't want to really talk about Ronaldo for too long, or Man United for that matter, but like this is not the first time this has happened with Ronaldo, because when they're losing and things are not going his way, he's a dirty sod and he's dangerous, and he could have really hurt Fraser. I think it was Fraser the challenge was on.
Yeah. Well, also, Fernandes was whinging on all first half. I mean, he was getting frustrated.
He whinges and whinges and whinges.
Yeah. I mean, everything that he did, he was just whinging at the referee all the time. And you probably didn't see it all on the telly, but in the ground, you could see him just...
Yeah.
And then, old squarehead Maguire started to get involved in the second half.
I just want to... Anyone who watched on telly, the Maguire just made me laugh in the first half because... I mean, you would have seen it in the ground, but he hacked Wilson down. He hacked him down, right? And then tried to tell the ref that he'd won the ball. He was like pointing. He was like just a clear foul. Like it was just horrendous. And he was another one who was actually lucky that he wasn't sent off, because that challenge that I've just talked about against Wilson when he hacked him down, the referee didn't actually book him for. We got the free kick, but the referee didn't book him, and yet he was booked in the second half later on. And actually, he could have easily had 2 yellow cards. So they were lucky. Man United were lucky they didn't end the game with 10 men. Yes,
I would totally agree with that. I think the other thing about the game, I mean, we've talked about, and I heard you mention about the crowd, but the atmosphere on the ground and the support for that team is amazing. It's just on another level, and it certainly affected Manchester United, the volume of and the encouragement. But I tell you what, when they equalised, it did go flat. It went, there was that bubble burst. But within 2 or 3 minutes, we started to get the voice back, and the team actually were very impressive in the fact that they didn't let the goal actually dampen it, and they kept to their game plan. And actually, we created good chances, and. On another day we would have scored. I mean, that one at the end which hit the post, and then the ball went out, and Almiron caught, and it was going in. I mean, it was
it was a great save. It was. I mean, you got to give De Gea credit. The only slight thing I would say is that it was just Almiron didn't quite get enough width on, like he didn't hit it wide enough, so it was a little bit too central, but it was still a great save.
It was a great save. Alex behind us in the ground was saying that he thought somebody should have been following in on the original shot, which bounced off the post.
Yeah. I mean, that was a shot from Murphy as well. I mean, honestly, just.
I mean, I thought it was good.
We were so unlucky. We were so unlucky.
I know. So I think we can be very proud of that performance, and I think that I was talking to the lad because I come out of the ground, and that did not look like a relegation threatened team.
No. And this is what I'm saying. I think I've actually managed to get the old fixtures put up now. I've managed to chop them. So I mean, hopefully you can see them well enough. But we've got obviously Everton away. That's not on that list there. But we've got Everton away. Then we've got Southampton away. So we've got 2 away games. Not easy in the Premier League. But I don't know how you feel, Dad, about Everton. But I think, Everton...
The only worry I've got about today, and I think somebody alluded to this somebody mentioned it actually, I think the fact that we played and put all that effort in tonight, and we worked our socks off, I just think to go again on Thursday without Maximum or Wilson, which is possible, I just think it'd be tough. The other thing as well is Everton had their game postponed the other day because they were only down. They had 9 players. No, I had no idea how from their COVID outbreak and everything else. Personally, I would just be happy if the game was called off. I know that.
Well, I don't know if you heard, but I kind of talked a little bit about that earlier. And actually, I'm trying to look for the comment, but someone said that House basically said that. I can't see it. Someone basically said that Howe said that Wilson will need looking at, but Sam Maximin should be okay. But I agree, because I said this earlier, that actually, because we had a lot of changes tonight and we were sort of struggling a little bit to get a team together, didn't we? So it could be that actually the postponement of the Everton game wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
I think, it's only like 48 hours time, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. It's a quick turnaround, and there was a lot of energy expended.
Yeah, but if it will have to play, we'll have to play. But I personally wouldn't be unhappy if it was called up. Particularly again, is because we've then got a long trip down to Southampton on Sunday.
Yeah,
just
how
ridiculous.
many days is that? Like 5 days away, isn't it, or something? 5 or 6 days. It's just very quick. 3 games in 5 or 6 days. It's a big ask, especially when you're missing players and there's COVID issues and injury.
I think what's fair, and I know 1 or 2 of the managers have been taught the sort of Klopp and Rangnick and all these people have been talking about, on Tuchel have been talking about the number of games. But I think Eddie Howe made a really good point about the integrity of the competition, that, teams aren't playing and then having big gaps and, they'll have come back when they're fresher or when they've got more, bought 1 or 2 players. It could work the other way, in that the games go against them because we're playing a lot of games to catch.
Yeah. I mean, it's this, isn't it? This is the bottom half of the league, but I was just saying, like, we're the only one who's played 19 games. Where everyone look. I mean, Burnley have only played 15, Watford 16, and I think it was Morgul said, those points, games in hand don't equate to points necessarily, and that's a good point.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
But especially when you're down the bottom, but like it, when it's such a busy period over Christmas and New Year, is it fair that Newcastle United, for example, play all their fixtures, and you've got teams who, like Man United, hadn't played for 2 weeks tonight, and thankfully for us, it looked like they'd not played, like trained with each other for 2 weeks, but it could have been the other way. It could have been, and they said this on the Sky commentary, like other teams have had a bounce from not playing. Man United went the other way tonight and didn't play very well at all. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll just see. I mean, as I say, I think that the performance was good. I mean, if you think about it now, since Howe took over the home games, I mean, we've drawn quite a few, but actually we've only lost to Man City since the first one, which was Brentford, wasn't it? I mean, we've drawn and beat Burnley, obviously, but that Man City were the only ones to actually beat Wu, and let's face it, they're beating most teams at the minute.
Yeah. Well, I said to you the other day, it's like we played Chelsea when they looked like the best team in the Europe.
Yeah.
And then they've had a bit of a dip, and then we played Man City when they've kind of taken Chelsea's title of that, because I mean Man City now look like the best team by a mile.
I think the thing with Chelsea game though, if you remember, that was just after Bruce went, wasn't it? And Graham Jones was in charge, and really nothing.
Yeah.
I think if we played Chelsea now, then I think we would probably give them a better game than we did that day. But
I agree.
when you play them, and you can argue.
Yeah, and it works both ways. I mean, you look at a team like we don't play them till February, but just as an example, West Ham, they've been amazing, but now they're having a dip in form, and it might be that we hit them at the right time and possibly get a result against them. I don't know. They might be back in form by the time we play them, but it's just an example, isn't it, of how it can work. And if you play teams at the right time, it can be to your benefit.
Yeah, I think the big thing now, of course, is just getting to the window and just seeing whether we're ready to go with players very quickly after the window opens on Saturday, isn't it? 1st of January. That's going to be the interesting thing.
It'll be really interesting to see how quickly we sign a player.
Yes.
I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I'd love to know what other people think as well. Do you think we'll sign someone in that first week? Let me know in the comments. What do you think, Dad?
You would like to think we will, and certainly I know there's been rumours, and I try not to pay too much attention to them because a lot of them are just either good guesswork or bad guesswork, whatever. But you would like to think there's a statement of intent, and I heard them talk on 5 Live when I was walking back up from the ground, and they were talking about the woman actually asked the question: do you think they'll want a signing, meaning like a marquee signing? And I'm screaming at the radio saying, no, we don't want that. We just want, like you said, players who are better than we've got, and we need to strengthen in key areas. We need a striker to have a fallback, because when Wilson is injured or he can't play every game, that we need an alternative, and we haven't got that at the minute. We need to strengthen the midfield, and actually the one player I would sort of single out for this tonight. I mean, as I said, they all played well, but Longstaff was actually really, really good tonight.
He did, I agree with that.
LV in that midfield, I thought Longstaff he had his best game for us, I think, for as long as I can remember, since when he first burst on the scene. Well, I thought
he did play well tonight. And he hasn't played a lot of games either, has he? So fair play to him. He did look knackered at the end, but I guess that's probably a lack of match fitness kicking in.
Yes, yeah. To be honest, I mean, they all looked a bit leggy towards the end, but they worked so hard. But I think you mentioned it on earlier, that they still rallied and kept themselves in the match and kept working even to the 96th minute or whatever it was, which was commendable. They wouldn't have done that 2 months ago because they wouldn't have been fit enough to do it. So it's credit to how you can see the work that's going on in the background. And okay, the results have been disappointing of late in some of the hammerings we've been getting, but I do think there's work in progress, and you can see some of it in some of the home performances.
I think there's been signs, hasn't there, in various games under Howe, of like we've played for periods of those matches like really well. And I just feel like tonight it was like we played for pretty much 90 minutes like that. And I think if we can get that kind of level of performance consistently, we'll be fine. I really believe that.
I think we've got some key games like you were mentioning earlier, and probably the key one of that is that first one in the middle of the January, the Watford game. That is a big fixture because they're close to us in the league. And if we could beat them, and I would hope that we would beat them, then that would give us 3 points, and that would be the start of maybe that run that we need, because we need to put a run together of 3 or 4 wins, not necessarily consecutively, but certainly 3 or 4 wins in, say, 6 or 7 games.
Well, this is, you might have missed me say this, but I'll just this is exactly what I was saying, because we've got 9 games between. Sorry, wrong one. 9 games between Everton, which is not on that list, and Brighton, which is at the bottom of that list in the league. Obviously, the Cambridge is the cup game. But we've got 9 league games. And, you've got Everton, Southampton, Watford, Leeds, Everton again, Villa, West Ham, Brentford, Brighton. And for me, we need to be winning. We really do need to genuinely be winning 4 or 5 of those games.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big test. But performances like that tonight give the encouragement that we can do it. Reinforcements to help the team be better will help. And I think Eddie Howe, I think he deserves a bit of luck along the way as well. I think we're
lucky tonight.
That little bit of luck that gives us, the win rather than. I mean, tonight we deserve to win, and with a bit of that little bit of luck, we could have done it. But it was encouraging, and it was great to be there. Yeah. It was just. Yeah.
I mean, lots of people mentioning the atmosphere and how amazing it was. I'll see if I can find the thing, but Ridden Fruit Records. Can we just talk about the noise in the stadium tonight? Unreal atmosphere, and again, it comes back to it can be such a positive thing, St James's Park, when it's rocking and it's everyone's pulling in the same direction. There's absolutely like it. It is like I've said it earlier, but it's like a 12th man. It really is. It can be like when everyone's pulling in the same direction. And again, lots of people tonight in the comments mentioning the fact that lots and lots of just like the players playing for the shirt, and it's just nice to see the club. It's mad that we're in the bottom three, because we're in the bottom three because of the old regime and Steve Bruce and all that stuff. We know why we're there. And no one is blaming Eddie Howe for that. No one is blaming the new owners for that. Everyone is working and supporting the club in the same way now. We're all pulling in the same direction.
I read a ridiculous article the other day in one of the national papers at the weekend, and it was talking about, Newcastle haven't had the new manager bounce and they've got all this money. And I'm thinking, but we haven't spent any of it yet. We can't spend it till January. But we have seen a bounce in performances in a lot of ways, and as I said, with a bit of luck, we might have won one or two more games. But it wasn't to be. But I do feel that we're on the right track, and I don't think the season's lost at all. I still maintain that we can get.
Not. Yeah. Like I said, I think we've got a few fans for the clubs here. So, Kaimani Goon, I don't know if you're pronouncing your name right. Nice point, Newcastle. Had a couple of Arsenal fans on tonight, which is nice. Even if you're not a Newcastle supporter and you've tuned in, so thank you for joining us. We've also got Plugged. Newcastle should have won. I'm thinking you're from Manchester, and he said the fans were class. So thank you very much. It was amazing atmosphere, as we've just said, and I genuinely believe Newcastle should have won the match tonight. We did have the better chances, and Man United were. Let's be honest, they were not firing on all cylinders, and I mean, I'd be slightly concerned if I was them about the impact that Rangnick has had, but I mean, I guess they've not played for 16 days or something, so maybe that's a bit harsh. I don't know, but I'd have just expected a bit more from them. I was worried about this match because Solskjaer was sacked, and I thought, that's our chance of getting a result against them gone. But as it turned out, I mean, it was almost business as usual as it's been for them this season. So I'd be slightly concerned if I was them. But what I would say is Marcus Rashford was awesome tonight. I thought he was their best player by about a mile.
I agree. He was excellent.
Davey says 57 points to play for. We need at least 26 of those to have a chance. That'd be about right, wouldn't it? We've got 11. So, 25, 26 points, probably going to be enough to keep us up. It might be quite a low total this season that keeps you up, but you won't want to risk that. You won't want to gamble on that. So basically we've got to win just under half of them. So, I mean, we've got to win about, what's that? How many matches is that? You've got to win 9 matches, roughly 8 or 9 matches. Well, 8 matches and a couple of draws. So I think that's doable. I really do.
Well, and teams who escape relegation, and there's always teams escape relegation. With them, I mean, I heard you mention about that, the fact that loads of sides do have seemingly impossible positions come February, March, and then suddenly galvanise themselves and get a run, and be us. And
I'll be all right. I really do feel I've even when we've gone through this run in December and that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't feel like we're going to get relegated yet. I don't feel like that. I think by the end of February, I will be able to say, we're going to stay up, or we're going to go down. That's how I feel. And I think January and February is massive. By the time we finish playing maybe the beginning of March. By the time we finish playing Brighton at the beginning of March, I think I'll know whether we're staying up or going down. The next 2 months are massive. Musical Magpie says, "What do you think of Dubravka's performance?" We touched on this earlier. He was okay. Like, he didn't really have that much to do, but obviously towards the end, he was just a little bit concerning. And I know that you mentioned the other day, Dad, about another game where you were slightly concerned maybe about Dubravka's performance.
Yeah, I mean, tonight in the first half, there were times when he stays rooted to his line. I don't know if he's just lacking a confidence thing, but he just seemed very nervous tonight at times. And that routine collect of the ball towards the end of the game, I mean, he looked as though he had it because it was at the other ground to me. And
it was to be fair, it was a good job by Lascelles to get back and clear it. And there was a couple of other defenders who got behind and saw the danger and actually were in position to clear it. But I think Lascelles actually got the clearance again. But
yeah, I'm trying to think which game I saw. I was thinking, was it the Man City game or was it the one? Was it the last? No, anyway.
I just remember you saying, like, you put in a text, I think, to me and Andrew, like, you just put, maybe we need a new keeper as well. Like, maybe
the Man City game, I think, because he just looked a bit all over. And the trouble is, if the goalkeeper's nervous, I suppose, like any good defence, the defence and the goalkeeper work as a unit, don't they? Maybe there's been a lot of chopping and changing in front of him, and that it doesn't give him the confidence in them, and it then then maybe that translates back to him being not the solid, reliable keeper that we had last season. I don't know. It just worries me a little bit that his performance.
I guess the thing is, like, in time, this whole squad's going to pretty much get turned over. So, maybe Dubravka will be if he's a good keeper. Dubravka, I don't want to criticize him really. I just think he didn't cover himself in glory in those last few minutes tonight. But I don't know if that's too harsh. I didn't see him against Man City, so I can't comment on that. But he's always been a pretty solid keeper, so it's worrying if that's starting to slip. So I guess it's something just to keep an eye on, really.
Yeah, there was a one that came in the first half where it was crossed over, and it just went past the far post actually, and I thought, maybe a confident Dubravka maybe would have just come and claimed it,
Right.
But we'll see. I mean, maybe it is goals and maybe better defenders and people being a bit more vocal around him will help him as much as he can help them as well. But but we will see.
Mark started saying I'd be a lot more nervous than Dubravka if I was playing and go with that front four in front of me. So and like you said, the chopping and changing and like a lot of like defending is knowing and trusting those around you, and it's hard to get that. It's hard to get that when it's changing so much, and Dubravka's only just come back in for recently as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's just something to. It's just interesting. Sorry, I've just seen this comment. It's just interesting to sort of talk about and think about maybe, but we'll see. This comment just caught my eye. Sorry. Any chance you could swap those interesting, colourful pictures behind you for some images of Mackems crying? Maybe one. I don't know. I feel like they're going to come up this season. I think they're going to do.
Yeah, I thought to your mum today, but I heard
they've had their dip and they're still second, aren't they? So I think they're going to be on right.
The cup last week against Arsenal, and they gave Arsenal a bit of a game in the first half, and then Arsenal ran away with it. But
thankfully. Musical Magpie. I kind of addressed this earlier, actually. Musical Magpies. How should have brought on Gale for Wilson? We conceded because we didn't hold the ball up the pitch after Wilson was injured. Personally, I don't agree with that. I think I was really impressed with what Howe did do because we were 1-0 up and he brought on Murphy and he basically just pushed Sam Maximin into that.
Sam Maximin up front.
He was up front. He wasn't a striker. He was just up front, wasn't he? And that kind of made us a little bit more solid in the middle of the pitch. I think we conceded. It wasn't because Wilson wasn't on the pitch. I don't think that was why we conceded. I just think we got caught out once, and I think we were unlucky. Actually, I think that's how I feel about
it. Didn't they? And they got it into the we just walked down that side.
We just didn't clear it after the first. It fell right back to Cavani, and just tapped it in. It wasn't even an
Yeah.
amazing finish. It was just kind of, yeah, it's just one of those things. But I wouldn't criticise Howe for not bringing Gale on, because I wouldn't have brought Gale on in that situation. And I liked what he did. I thought, because like I was texting Andrew, my brother, and we were just he was saying, oh, he'll put Joelinton up front now, and we don't want that because it'll change what he's doing because he's playing so well. And I said, I wouldn't do that. I would keep Joelinton where he is and put St. Maximin up front, and that's exactly what Howe did in the end.
Yes, I would, and I agree with that. I mean, when I knew that obviously Wilson was going to go off, I was thinking exactly the same. I was just hoping Howe wouldn't change Joelinton to a forward, but he did the right thing. And I think Sir Maxim actually was a thorn in their side, another thorn in their side, because he every time he got the ball, he had at least two around them, quite often three.
Yeah.
He had a good game and he worked his socks off like Paul did. Fair, but I do think he even in that centre, roaming around the front line on his own, we did break with purpose. Which was good to see actually, and with a bit more composure at times. I think we might have created even a clear cut chance. I mean, apart from the one he missed on the line, but I thought that was the right decision. I thought tactically, Howe was spot on tonight.
Yeah. Just Eric's making a point here, and I think this is worth just going back to Dubravka. Dubravka's a good keeper, but it seems we're playing the ball back to his feet more, and he's expected to play the ball out, which isn't working for him. I think that's a fair point, actually, by Eric. I think that there is a bit of that going on. And there was he actually did really well in the first half, I think it was, where he read the play and he basically ended up almost near the halfway line on the right hand side. But he did really well because he took it past the defender and then he hit it out, but you couldn't blame him for that. But he did a good thing. So
yeah, he read that very well actually, because again it was at our end of the ground, and it was just before that the lad behind Alex had said he stays rooted to his line too much. We shouldn't be. And then I turned and said to him after he did that, that he wasn't rooted to his line there.
No, he wasn't. He was definitely not. He was halfway up the pitch. The banner says, Ian, in one sentence, please explain Joelinton the revival. So I'll let you have a think about this as well, Dad. In one sentence.
One sentence.
I would say I'm not surprised.
That
would be my sentence. Maybe I'm a little bit surprised at how well he's playing, but it doesn't surprise me that he's doing well, because I kind of thought that he could play this role for us. There were signs that he could do it, and I'm really pleased that he is. That would be my sentence. Mark says miraculous.
I think it is a bit more, but I do give such a big credit Eddie Howe and his team on this, because I mean it was said that in the interview that he gave to when he speaking to Stavely and whoever else was interviewing him, that he had plans for how he could improve Joelinton. So I don't think it was. He obviously knew that it being an outsider and seeing the sort of player he was. Yeah. So I put it down. I think it's just simply. I think he's being coached really well, and he's found his true place. And
how the coaches have clearly believe in him, and he's clearly a player who needs that confidence and support of those around him, and that reassurance that what he's doing is good, and he's thriving from it.
And do you know what it is? I mean, he's gone from being one of the most sort of criticised and joked about players, and that he'd be the first one out the door and all the rest. Yeah. And then the last one coming out of the ground there, he was the last one on the pitch, and he was handing his shirt to somebody.
He did. Yeah, I saw that on Sky. Yeah.
And his rapport with the crowd now he's even got his own song. I mean,
it's great. I mean, we were talking about this, weren't we? The Leicester match that we went to, unfortunately. We went to the Leicester game, didn't we? Which was not the best afternoon. But yeah, we were saying like it's crazy. Like he's literally got his own chant, which is a badly out of tune version of an Oasis song, but at least he's got his own chant, and it kind of works, and it's quite funny. But I'm pleased for the lads, and you can forget the price tag. It's irrelevant now. It doesn't matter. Like that was the old regime that allegedly paid £40 million. No one knows how much we paid for him anyway, but it's irrelevant because actually, when you're on the pitch, price tags don't matter. It matters about your performance.
And as I've said before, I don't believe they ever paid 40 million for him anyway. I think it was just a book entry somewhere along the line, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's some financial, I don't know, free, like I don't know. I don't want to say anything libelous. A bit of artistic expression with finance.
Creative accounting, that's what it is.
Creative accountancy, that's it. Yeah, that's the way to say it. Right. Lots of other comments coming in. I really appreciate everyone who's watching tonight. I'm gonna sign off though because I'm pretty tired and and I need to probably go to sleep. But I'm buzzing though. Really happy with the performance. This got a Man United fan here. Excellent work by Newcastle. Absolutely played Man United off the park and could and should have won. And I think that's a fair point to end on. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight and chatting about the game. It's been great. Thanks for coming on, Dad, after the match.
You're welcome. Always good to talk.
Direct from St James's Park to your front, your study. And yeah, it's been good chatting to you.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, good night, everyone.
Yeah, and we'll do this again soon. So we'll be back. We'll be back soon. I don't know when because the schedule in this week between Christmas and New Year's like crazy. But maybe we'll do something before the Everton game. But thank you everyone for joining in and all the comments, and we'll see you again really soon.